In a fairly uncommon move, Apple released a few new products this week without holding a dedicated big splashy event. We got 5 new Macs powered by the M4 chips, and I had a chance to look at all of them. Also, it is fair to say that the most hyped product this year would be the Mac Mini, so let's just start there. This Mac Mini is tiny. At 5 inches wide and 5 inches long and 2 inches tall, it looks less like a smaller version of the 14-year-old Mac Mini and more like a smaller Mac Studio. And it makes sense for it to be so tiny. Once the M chips made their way to the Mac Mini, it was obvious how much unused space there was. The M4 Mac Mini is also maybe a bit heavier than I expected, but I wouldn't call it heavy, far from it. Some Verge staffers were worried if unplugging and plugging the cables would actually move the Mac Mini around. While I wasn't able to just plug in stuff, I did kind of nudge it around, and yeah, it'll definitely slide around a bit, unless you pin it down. But there are also changes to the I/O here as well. 2 USB-C ports and a 3.5 audio jack on the front. On the back, there is an Ethernet port, full-size HDMI port, and 3 Thunderbolt ports, which means there are no more USB-A ports. But I think 5 USB-C ports is a good trade-off. But also not all these ports are the same. The front ports are 10 gigabit per second USB-C, and the back 3 are Thunderbolt. The regular M4 configuration gives you Thunderbolt 4, and the more powerful M4 Pro chips comes with Thunderbolt 5, which is 3 times faster. And although it never had it before, I still wish they put an SD card slot on there as well. It feels like every Apple product redesign comes with some sort of a controversy, and this year that is the power button, which is on the underside in the far left corner of the Mac Mini. Can I just say, it is fine. As someone who spends a lot of time sitting in front of a desktop computer, I rarely ever have to turn it on or off using the physical button. But is it awkward to reach? Definitely. You'll need to lift it up a bit. Inside of the base $599 M4 model, you will find 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is the new default and seemingly a requirement to run Apple Intelligence. There's 10-core GPU, 10-core CPU, and 16-core neural engine. The base model comes with 256 gigs of SSD storage, which is just not enough in my opinion, and I'd strongly recommend you to upgrade. But those upgrades can be extremely expensive. 1 terabyte is extra $400, while 2 terabyte is extra $800. The Mac Mini with the M4 Pro starts at a much steeper $1,399 price tag with 12 cores of CPU, 16 cores of GPU, and 512 gigabytes of storage. The M4 Pro version is upgradable to 64 gigs of RAM for extra $600, and if you want to go all out on storage, 8 terabytes will be an additional $2,400. Just wild. Anyhow, this is a desktop, so external storage like RAID drives or just extra SSDs is always an option. Next up, MacBook Pros. The new M4 MacBook Pros are also here. They look exactly the same except for the new display option and the fact that the entry-level 14-inch MacBook Pro now comes with an additional Thunderbolt port. That model gets the M4 processor. The more expensive 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros come with either the M4 Pro chip, like the Mac Mini, or the M4 Max. The M4 Max chip promises some impressive performances, and in my demo where we're looking at 3D models of a car, which was loading seamlessly, I was able to move it around, change colors in an instant, but I do have to admit that I have no idea what kind of performance I'm supposed to expect here when it comes to 3D models. I'm more familiar with the video editing benchmarks, and for that, we'll need to wait to review these laptops ourselves. We also looked at the video game Control. The game ran smoothly and it looked great. Even though Macs were never considered serious gaming machines, ever since the M chips came out, they should be taken more seriously. And next year they'll run Cyberpunk, one of the more demanding games. I'm excited to try that one out finally. All of the new MacBook Pro laptops can now be configured with the nano texture display, which also promises color better suited for creative professionals. I own an iPad with a nano texture glass and I love it dearly, but I do have to admit that this glass makes a lot more sense on a screen where I won't be leaving my fingerprints on. Lastly, there's the new updated iMac. The new all-in-one desktops come in a new and more saturated colors, which look absolutely fantastic in real life. In fact, you might have noticed I was a little bit thin on B-roll for the previous 2 products. I'm sorry. That's because these iMacs were so much fun to film. Anyways, The iMac still comes only in one size, which is 24 inches, which is slightly disappointing. Nevertheless, the 24-inch Retina display looked good in my brief demo. It is a fine display, but I do wish its peak brightness was higher than 500 nits. The webcam is also updated and now supports center stage and desk view, both on the iMac and the MacBook Pro. Center stage means it will track you around when you're walking around. In desk view, the webcam crops down to the very bottom of its field of view. It corrects the distortion and shows your desk to whoever you're talking to. In this dim room, the footage did look very grainy and the overall surface was a bit small. But unlike before, this is now built into the webcam, so you won't need your iPhone to pull this off. All of these come with the standard M4 chip. No Pro or Max options here, but there are two variants. One, M4, comes with 8 cores of CPU and GPU, and the other is 10. The one with 10 can be upgraded to 32 gigs of RAM, while the 8 core is capped at 24. Also, that same 8-core iMac oddly doesn't come with a Magic Keyboard with a Touch ID. You get the Magic Keyboard without Touch ID. But both the keyboard and the Magic Mouse are color coordinated, and yeah, they have USB-C ports, and yeah, the port is still underneath the Magic Mouse, and yeah, this means that the only product left using Lightning that you can buy from Apple is the first-gen Apple Pencil. There are also some dongles and stuff, but you get the point. So there you have it. M4 Macs are here and they're super fun to look at and to use, but stay tuned for our full review. Parting thoughts? Here's the thing. My personal laptop is a 14-inch MacBook Pro with an M1 Pro chip with 32 gigs of RAM. I got the year it came out, and it is an absolute beast and has been my trusty companion for the past 3 years. It handles anything and everything I throw at it with ease, so there's really no reason for me to upgrade when it just comes to computing power. So if not for performance itself, I'm starting to look at form factor, hardware ports, things like that, and yeah, that Mac Mini is looking very tempting. As I mentioned, this was a brief opportunity to look at devices in person for the first time, so if there are any other questions that I didn't answer in the video, let me know below and we'll chat.